Hello fellow stackers, 365 here, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I wanted to talk to you about why I think it's so important to invest in precious metals, especially silver. Now there's a saying that goes that you should invest in what you use. Now what that saying means is that if you love a McDonald's, for example, say you go to McDonald's and you have a McDonald's every week or a couple of times a week, then you should invest in McDonald's stock because you use their businesses, so it makes sense to kind of have a part of their business. The same as if you use an iPhone every single day, it makes sense to buy the iPhone stock because you believe in their product, you're using their services every day, so it makes sense again to invest in their company. Same as if you drink Coca-Cola, it makes sense to buy Coca-Cola stock, if you drive a Tesla and all the rest of it. So that's the strategy I've always used. Now, before we go any further, I'm not a financial advisor, so do always make your own investment decisions. Do always do your own research before making any investment choices. This is just research I found online. I will be leaving the sources in the description so you can kind of check the websites out to see where I've got these facts from. But this is kind of just to help you decide a little bit more why I think it's so important to have part of your portfolio in precious metals, and like I said, especially silver. Now, I've always stood by that mindset. If I use a product, I like to invest in the company. Now, obviously, the company has to have good financials and good fundamentals behind it. But as a rule, if I like a company and I use the company every day or every week, I quite often look into the company and see if it's worth adding to my portfolio. For example, I use Google Mail every single day at my job. So therefore, I looked into Google. Google also own obviously YouTube, and they've obviously got the biggest search platform in the world as well. And after doing my extensive research into it, it made sense to invest in Google stock, and that's what I do. I dollar cost average or pound cost average into Google stock every single month. The same with Apple. I use iPhone every single day, and by far I think it's a superior smartphone. It stood the test of time. They update it every single year. They're updating the software consistently. I think it's a great business model. For me, the stock made sense, so I also pound cost average into that stock every single month. So like I said, if you use a product, in my opinion, it makes sense to do the research into the company and invest in that company because you're an actual user of the product, so you believe in the company, so you're more likely to hold the stock longer term if you're using that stock regularly. This is why I think it's so important to invest in silver, because a lot of people don't realize how much silver is used on a daily basis and how much you, as a person watching this video alone, you are using products that contain silver every single day. So I've done a little bit of research into this, and I'm going to put some stats and things like that on the screen as we go through this so you can kind of see it. Like I said, I'm going to put the sources where I've got all this information from in the description so you can go and fact check it and look into it yourself if you're interested in doing more research. So most of you that watch this video will own a car, or you'll know someone that owns a car. Or if you don't own a car, you'll use public transport like a bus or a train or something like that, something to commute to get around. Now that is something most people will use every single day. So a normal combustion engine vehicle, so a vehicle that runs on petrol or diesel, uses around about 15 to 28 grams of silver per vehicle. Now, if you look at hybrid vehicles, now that's a car that can run on electric or petrol or diesel, they use around 18 to 34 grams of silver per vehicle. Now, the electric vehicles, they use quite a bit more. And as many of you know that live in the UK, by 2030, there will no longer be sales of combustion vehicles. It will purely be electric vehicles. So anyone buying a new car in the UK will be forced in 2030 to only buy electric vehicles. Now, I don't know the kind of time frame in some of the other countries, so do let me know in the comment section if you know when your country is planning to go fully electric, if they've announced the date yet. But a lot of countries are getting on board with this. So back to the amount of silver used in an electric vehicle, it is between 25 and 50 grams of silver per vehicle. Now, bearing in mind it takes roughly 31 grams of silver to equal 1 troy ounce. Now you can see that even a normal regular combustion vehicle at the top end uses roughly 1 troy ounce of silver to make. Now, if we scale that up and you have a look at how many vehicles are sold on a daily basis across the world, it's 66 million. 66 million cars were sold in 2021. So if we work on the assumption that every single vehicle uses roughly 1 troy ounce of silver to make, that is
180,000 troy ounces a day.
just in car sales alone. So absolutely crazy number used in manufacture every single day just to keep on top of the cars that are sold on a daily basis. Now, huge amount of silver being used every single day. Real use purpose for this investment vehicle. Now, if we look at mobile phones, many of you will have a mobile phone. Most of you might be watching this video on a mobile phone. Now, if you look at the amount of mobile phones sold per day, if we do this one back to front. Now, this is an article I found from 2019, so bear in mind it's probably gone up now as more and more developing countries are having access to mobile phones and things like that. Now, in 2019, they say it's roughly 4.14 million mobile phones are sold every single day. Now, we look at these stats here, you can see that roughly 772 pounds of silver can be recycled from 1 million mobile phones. So if we translate 772 pounds into troy ounces, that's 11,258 troy ounces per million mobile phones. So if you think about how many mobile phones are sold every single day, that equals to 3,088 pounds of silver are used to make 4 million mobile phones, which equals 45,033 troy ounces a day are used just to keep up with mobile phone sales. And like I said, these stats are from 2019, so they're actually outdated. So this number could be considerably higher. So if we just look at this number, 45,000 troy ounces are used per day, every single day on average, just to keep up with mobile phone sales. Now, I'm not going to make this video too long. I'm not going to spend any more time researching how much silver is used to make computers, laptops, TVs, gaming consoles, anything electrical that you can think of usually has silver content in it. Now, the stats we just spoke about were to do with mobile phones. You can imagine laptops and computers and TVs and gaming consoles, they're bigger than mobile phones. So that number will be considerably higher for the silver content in those items. Now, that is a crazy amount of silver used every single day just to keep on top of the car and mobile phone sales and electrical items in general. These two stats are another reason why I think I've made such a great decision to invest in silver, and I'll continue to invest in silver for many years to come, because like I said, invest in things that you use, and every single one of you that is watching this video now is using some sort of electrical device that contains silver. So silver is used every single day. Vast quantities of it is being used. It is not going to suddenly dry up and not be used anymore. Like I said in previous videos, gold I think is a great investment. Yes, it's harder to get hold of, but there's not such a big use scale for gold. There's investment purposes and jewellery. They're the two main uses for gold. Do your own research, always make your own investment decisions. But for me, silver is always going to be a winner because it's always going to be in high demand. As the world kind of develops more and more silver is going to be needed for all these new electrical devices that are being introduced. And especially once we start pumping out electric cars and make it compulsory that you can only manufacture electric vehicles, silver is going to play a big part in that. I've even watched videos in the past, I'm not sure how true this is, I haven't done research behind it, but I've seen videos in the past that says Elon Musk is actually looking into acquiring his own silver mine purely because of how much silver is being used on a daily, monthly and yearly basis just to build Tesla vehicles. Like I said, I haven't done much research into that, so let me know if you've got any sources or anything like that. But that's just kind of something I've read a couple of times. Just because of how much silver he's using, he wants to kind of control his own silver mine so he doesn't have to kind of deal with the shortages and things like that along the way. So hope you found this video interesting. Like I said, all the links to all the information I've disclosed in this video will be in the description, so you can fact check it and have a look. As always, thank you very much for watching my videos, and I hope you have a nice day.